This very next visual is something called a scatter plot. Before I insert that new worksheet and pick a data source, and you can go ahead and do that if you'd like, I'd like to talk for a minute about what a scatter plot is. Scatter plots are designed to let analysts see the outliers or the anomalies in data. They're not terribly good at letting us see what the expectations are because there are so many data marks that they overlap each other. That's inevitable, and it's also to a degree irrelevant because I don't really care about them. So what we're going to do is we're going to build a scatter chart, scatter plot, that's going to compare sales and profit. Now remember that just because we're selling things does not automatically mean we're generating profit. There could be product returns, there could be overhead involved that we know nothing about, and so we need to do some analysis. What we're really looking for are the outliers. What are the extreme values for both profit and sales? And then what can we learn from that information? So first, a new worksheet. Let's rename it scatter plot. And let's take a look. I'm going to be using Orders Sample Superstore. I'm not using the European Union. I'm not using the World Indicators. Same one as the last several exercises. So let's take a look at how we're going to build one of these. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to drag a few elements around it. Notice that scatter plot, by the way, is up here on Show Me, in the Show Me gallery, usually. Here. There's our scatter plot. We could build it this way, or by simply knowing how to use the marks card successfully and properly, we can get something over here. I'm going to collapse this. Let's drag the profit measure to the columns shelf. We expected this, right? One measure typically defaults to a column or a bar. Let's grab our sales measure, put this on the rows shelf, and let go. All right, now let's stop and talk about what we're seeing. Last time you and I put two measures on the same viz, they were on the same row, correct? So I got one graph above the other graph, and then we had to do that whole dual axis thing to combine them together. But that's not what we did this time. We have one measure on columns and one measure on rows. That's a little different. And now what's it doing? Well, same thing it always does. It's summarizing or aggregating the data. So I'm going to hover over this and take a look. Here's profit and here's sales. One big dot. Not terribly interesting, right? I agree. So let's do something with this. We need to figure out how to subdivide that number so we can see what we want. All right, let's try that. Let's drag the segment dimension to the color shelf. And notice that because I've got 3 market segments, I've got 3 dots. Not terribly interesting. You know, I could have put that in an email. That's not really telling me a lot, but we're understanding what Tableau is thinking. You've got one big aggregated number. Now it's being subdivided. And listen, when you hear that term aggregated, I know this is a beginner class. Don't let it throw you. To aggregate just means to collect or to group things. It doesn't even imply math. All right. So as I said in some of my other videos here, if you're one of those OCD people who has your sock drawer organized by season of the year and then by color, I can say you've honestly aggregated your sock drawer. You know, that's not common usage, but I said nothing wrong. You know, so first we collect or group by something, and then we apply math. That's really all that means, is to aggregate data. We're going to look around a little bit and see what we can do. Let's tell it, don't do that. Let's go to the analysis menu, and you'll notice that the very second option says aggregate measures. It's been doing this since we began because we wanted to, except now. Now we're going to uncheck aggregate measures. Aggregate measures. Wow. Look at all this. Let's look around. Oh, and to look around, I don't want standard. Let's switch this to say fit width. That's better. So let's look. First, the first thing I'd like to do is draw your attention to the status bar. I haven't done much with it. There's only so much you can do at one time. But way down here, notice that it's saying 9,994 marks. That's actually how many rows of data exist on the orders worksheet in Sample Superstore. You've got that. The very first row just has column headers. you count up everything that remains, there's 9,994 rows, and in this case marks, meaning circles. The majority of them piling all over the top of each other at the vortex of the scatter. But like I said when we first started, I don't care, because the uninteresting data is the stuff that landed about where I expected it to land. So while it gives me a little bit of confidence that I knew what was going to happen, that's not really what I'm trying to see. All of these outliers are what I'm trying to see, especially these negative numbers. Like, I don't like these. How in the world did the consumer segment turn into this? How in the world did I end up with $4,500 in sales and I lost $6,600? The analysts want to drill into this and say, well, what can we do to figure out what's going on out here? All right, so let's see what else we can do. Let's kind of loosen up some of those circles. Let's take a look at the shape. We've done nothing with shape yet. Let's make the shape a plus sign. That's a little bit better. I can see a few more of them. Let's make a few more changes. Let's put some stuff in the tooltip shelf. Let's drag a few more here. Let's drag region. That might be in here. Region will go into the tooltip shelf. And so will ship mode. Now when I begin to hover over any of these, I've got more data. Analysts love when we load up the tooltip because now it tells them what they need to start to do to begin to analyze, right? Where do we look first? Let's turn on a summary so we can see a few more things. Okay, I think we got the mouse thing going, the tooltips are going. Let's click up here. We haven't done this yet. From the worksheet menu, let's do something with some of these. I've deliberately not done much. Let's pick Show Summary. Look at the summary that appears at the far right-hand side of the scatter. Sum of profit is this. Average here is at 29. Min value, max value, and the median. That's incredibly important information for anyone who's doing numeric analysis. I don't always turn these things on. In this particular case, I do, because I like what it's showing me, and I can do something with these numbers. All right, now, you're all going to click your Save button for me. And in this lesson, we've got one topic left, and you will not need to insert a new worksheet, I promise. Go ahead and grab a coffee break if you need a quick one. Hit that pause button. We'll see you back for the last exercise in this lesson.